Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Nope, nope, that's copywritten, and it is also free advertising. Oops. Okay, let's pin this comment. Alrighty. Hello, everybody. Hi, friends. Hello, hello, hello. Where's Courtney? Yes. Well, Courtney, being a working voice actress, like myself, well, she's an actor. We're actors. She booked a gig, and unfortunately, the only time they could do it was right now. But hopefully, she will be done before the end of this broadcast. So, such is the industry. Anyway, welcome to Between Two Nerds. I am your one nerd for today, JP Karliak. And we are a show presented by Nerds Vote, presenting voter registration information as well as chats with some of your favorite notable nerds. So thanks for tuning in. We have an amazing guest today. Oh, greetings from Holland. Hello, hello, hello. He is on Voltron, the legendary defender. He plays Prince Lotar. He has been Marty McFly. He is Han Solo. He is on the Croods. He is the absolutely amazing voice, all around sweet guy. He is AJ LoCasio.
Hello. Did it
One of the
work?
first times I've actually timed it out right. That's
It was a little. I have no idea. I look like I'm in headlights right now. I just set this up, so I have no idea what you're
You got
experiencing.
some ring light magic going on?
Yeah, I have a teeny one that I got for crafts, and then I realized that I could use it for other things. So there, it's less intense. I don't look like a YouTuber giving instructions on how to make candles. It's every time someone uses a ring light in one of those like informational videos, it's like they look like they're in the fountain where it's just a white oval. Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. So anyway, I
Yeah.
try not to do
You
that.
look,
But how are
I
you?
mean, I think you look great, AJ. I
Oh,
feel like
thank
I've
you.
been in a gutter for the past week, but you look fantastic.
I've been in this closet, so I it's starting to smell like cat food in here.
Ugh.
Yeah,
All right.
I don't know. I don't
Okay.
know. It's there's no air conditioning in
No,
this.
I definitely know the feeling. How have you been? How has the pandemic been treating you?
It's weird as hell, but things have been as good as they can be. It's kind of hard to be like, I'm good. It's just making lots of crafts and you
What are you
know,
making?
I'm all kinds of weird crap. I make these little spoops that I'm sure you've seen me post all over social
I
media.
have.
They're little Halloween sculptures, and I've made a couple hundred of those. So
They're
they're
really cute.
Thank you. They're a labor of love and blood and sweat and tears. So a lot of those, and then got a 3D printer because I figured it would make my life easier, but it doesn't. It's like having a droid from Star Wars, where you're like, oh, this will assist my moisture farming, and then it breaks down, and you're trying to figure out what happened to it. So it's been an interesting thing
Instead,
to
it
play
just
with.
complains and yells at you.
Basically. But yeah, lots of random stuff. How about you?
What am I doing? This.
Fun? Yeah.
Yeah, no, working, doing this, moving, all sorts of delightful stuff.
Moving. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, what else is there to do but to change where you live? Yeah. But no, things have been pretty decent. So, question about the spoops.
Yes.
Where's the name come from?
Well, so I just sculpted these for fun, like
Yeah.
4 years ago, and then when Voltron hit, I don't remember if someone found them or something, but people were like, "Ooh, this is so spoopy. These are spoopy," and I'd never heard that word before. And then I just sort of started referring to the little sculptures as spoops, and then when people started asking where to buy them, it just kind of progressed into me going, I don't know, I just made these for me. And then being like, well, here's these spoopy things, here's these spoops, and then it just kind of got truncated to spoops. So it kind of
No.
progressed naturally, I guess. Yeah, no one seemed to be using the name, so I was like, all right, I'll adopt this.
Yeah. I mean, I'm super. And how long have you been doing it?
Uh, well, I started making the first ones maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, just as because, and then when Voltron
Yeah.
hit, it became like a thing where I was like, oh, I should make multiples of these and have other different variations because there was like a skeleton, a pumpkin, and like three other kinds of pumpkins, and then it kind of grew and grew and grew as people were like, these are cute, and I was like, they are? Other people like this? I thought it was just something I liked, so it was a weird discovery that other people like the weird crap that you like. It was a really nice, warm, fuzzy feeling. So then it just expanded from there.
Yeah. Uh, so, if I remember correctly, I think I met you at a Halloween party. Is Halloween like a big holiday for you?
Yes, I don't think we met at the kids the school thing.
Oh, that's right. That's
That's
right.
and then we bumped into each other at Jen's party, and I didn't recognize you because you had pink hair and like a beard and or some there was like something physically very different about you, and I was like,
For
hi.
me, it's every week. Who knows?
But yeah,
Well,
it
because
was
I
that
always remember the
play.
Rocketeer costume. That one is like,
Oh yeah, it's a lot of work. Thank you. It's not like a fun go to a party in a costume. It's a look what I made kind of costume. So
yes, it
it's
is.
a
It is
serious
definitely fits
commitment.
more in the cosplay realm of like impressive craftsmanship.
Well, thank you. It wasn't all. I mean, I built it from a kit that my friend L Rocketeer on Instagram made for me. So he was a very sweet dude who just sent me this package. It was like, hey, here's a Rocketeer kit, help like back jetpack, and I was like, holy shit, this is. Can I curse on here? Holy crap.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. And so then I put it together, and he sized it to my proportions because I'm not like the actor who's like 6'5". I'm 5'7". So
Is he
they
really?
gave me.
He always looked short to me. Huh.
He's yeah, no, he's apparently a huge dude. So which is an issue when you're trying to cosplay him because you can get. Why am I talking about this? You can get casts of his helmet, but he's got a huge noggin, so it's tough because you can't get one for a tiny guy. And I found someone who makes those. So anyway.
Right. Awesome.
I guess
Super
it is
cool.
called Between Two Nerds and Nerds Vote, so nerding out is, I'm assuming,
Oh
okay
yeah,
here.
yeah. We get to the vote, but we start with the nerd.
Okay.
Do you have outside of the Rocketeer? Do you have a favorite Halloween costume from your youth?
For my youth, I my when I was a kid, my mom made me Captain Planet, and that was really
Ah!
fun. Yeah, I had like a big fake sewn quilted muscle chest and like a blue face, but like nothing else blue as far as I remember.
Because we never
Uh,
paint the ears when we're kids. We never think of that.
No, yeah, it's that's
Yeah.
way too much detail. So that was a favorite. And on the opposite end of the spectrum, I was super mad at my parents for making me wear a sweater under my Aladdin costume in like third grade. So I was like, we had a Halloween like March parade thing, and I defiantly took off the sweater. And what was even worse is I had a Simpsons T-shirt underneath, and I was like marching around thinking I was such a badass with no sweater, but a very blatant Simpsons logo on my chest.
And
It
a
was
vest over that.
and a vest over that. Yeah, it
Sure,
was
sure.
very cool.
Was it at least a flesh-colored sweater? No, of course
No,
not.
not at all. It was puffy and white. It's actually kind of similar to what they do at the parks, where Aladdin has like a puffy white shirt on. So my parents were ahead of their time. Kind of a
Uh,
bare chested Aladdin
we have a
in the
question in the
parks.
comments. What's the point of
Good.
dressing up this year? I mean, obviously for the gram, but
Yeah, for the gram, yeah, that makes you feel good. I don't know.
yeah,
I'm a schmuck who makes costumes just because I enjoy it. Like I enjoy the process of doing the research and learning how to make new how to develop new skills. And every new costume is a chance to learn a new skill. So for me, it's not so much about the dressing up; it's the fun of creating things. And we have a lot of time to do that now. So if you want to make a super accurate, whatever costume, Iron Man, you have more than enough time now to get into it. So that's
yeah.
I. Although to be honest, I don't know if I'm making one. What am I working on? I don't even know. I was gonna do a Boba Fett costume this year, maybe, but like Ralph McQuarrie, the white Boba Fett, like the original concept art.
Oh, okay.
It's super weird, and I was just like, oh, that'd be fun. So I made the helmet, and I was just like, I like the helmet. I don't really want the whole thing. So that's where I was headed, and then all this stuff went down. So
Well, the one thing that's fun about about Instagram is really it's only going to capture you in one dimension. So you could always just do like cardboard cutout, like look at me, I'm Boba Fett. You know,
Yeah,
it's just strictly two dimensional.
right. Yeah. I turn around and my whole back is exposed.
For everybody just tuning in, welcome to Between Two Nerds. This is a show presented by Nerds Vote, your source for voter registration information, specifically for the gaming, cosplaying, pop culture fan, and con-going set. We have an amazing guest today, AJ LoCasio. If you have questions for AJ, you can put them in the little question mark box down the bottom, and we will get to those throughout the show. We post action items for every one of our shows. In the pinned comment today, you'll notice that we're talking about the census because even though it doesn't seem directly related to voting, it is, because filling out the census in a way is like voting to make sure that resources go to your community. So if you're the census is used to allocate resources federally and statewide. So getting counted is important to make sure that your community gets your money. So do that. Anyway, so the voting part of the Nerds Vote.
Yes.
AJ, where did you grow up?
New Jersey. Clinton, New Jersey.
Aha!
Yeah.
The great Garden State.
Yes.
I am technically I am from New Jersey, people, but I'm a Pennsylvanian.
Okay.
What was do you have an early voting memory or like a favorite voting memory?
That's an interesting question. I remember there being a mock vote in my fourth grade where they had like kids voting for, and it was around the time that Bill Clinton, I think, was getting was going in office, and I just remember being like, "What are my parents voting for?" Because I didn't know anything about it. So of course I just voted for. I think I voted for Bill Clinton, and but it was all based on what my parents were telling me. They're like, "You do this, and this person's important." I was like, "Okay, I don't know anything about this." So it was a weird. I remember them announcing it like over the speaker, like Bill Clinton won at Patrick McGarren School, and which is funny. Patrick McGarren School, PMS, we used to chant at the sports things, "Go PMS" and "We love PMS," which was eventually the parents got them to change that. But for years, that was the case. So anyway, I think about that a lot.
I mean, we do love PMS because it is wonderful to celebrate all of the aspects of womanhood. Anyway. Well, that's cool. I'm glad that they did a mock election. You know, we talk a lot about, we get a lot of people on this, you know, especially fans of a lot of animated projects who are like, I'm too young. I'm not even remotely 18 yet. What can I do? And, you know, we talk about getting involved in the issues and learning who your politicians are early on so that you can have an opinion about them when you eventually are able to vote.
Right.
So that's cool. Yeah. So this election, a question that we love
Sorry,
to
I'm gonna
ask.
keep adjusting this because the little snake thing that's holding up my phone is slowly getting flaccid. So I'm just gonna probably not the right adjective. Noun, verb, I don't know. All right, it's in exactly the same place. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
All good. A question that we love to ask our guests is, who are you voting for? And when we ask it, we're a nonpartisan organization, so we are not asking about party or political or politicians. We're asking about when you are casting your ballot this year, what people or persons or issues will you have on your mind that you want that ballot to positively affect?
Okay. Well, not Trump, but that's just me. I mean, generally, what I'm looking for is someone who's compassionate, someone who cares about the little guy. I heard this quote that took me a while to unwind was, vote for the least fortunate person you can think of, or it was something along the lines of that. And I was like, the hell does that mean? Like the least fortunate person in your community. And I kind of like, when I heard that, I saw people like, oh, that's great. And it took me a while to digest that. Like the idea of how will this affect someone I love that, you know, isn't as well off or is struggling. And, you know, there's certain people that come to mind that I know the way I vote, if it's selfish, is going to affect that. And I I think about that more than anything. I think now is how can I help them through what I, it's such a small action to vote. It's a big action, but it's a small gesture and a thing to go do, and it could have huge repercussions. So that's kind of where I lean, is who's the most compassionate, intelligent. It's like anything. It's like a person that you fall in love with, a school teacher, whatever it is. Like, it should be someone that you think, wow, you're super smart, you're super honest, and then, hey, if you can't find that, look for the better of the, what's the
The
evils? What's
least
the
of two
quote?
evils.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly. So
Right.
that's the way I lean, and it's been an interesting. What's been interesting about everything that's going on is I'm pretty vocal on Twitter about how I feel about everything that's going on,
Sure.
and with family, there's been such an interesting divide. With I think a lot of young people are experiencing this now, and it feels very validating or comforting to sort of reach out to be like, hey, some of my family members are super racist and crazy, and seeing so many other young people that follow me or people my age that are like, same, like constantly getting into arguments because of the way news is given out and the way communities are set up. Like, my hometown is very closed off, like it's very isolated, and people want to protect sort of the weird bubble that they live in, and so it may make them lean a little more perhaps racist or bigoted as a result. And so trying to enlighten people who's never left my hometown and be like, hey, out there, it's not quite what you think when you watch Fox News. It's
Yeah.
people are people, and there's, so it's, I don't know if I said anything that made any sense just now, but yeah, there's a,
Plenty. Plenty. I
okay.
mean, I think, especially now. I mean, this was true before the pandemic, but I mean, especially now that we're all in our homes and all our access to other people is solely through, the space box.
Right.
Um, so much of what we're taking in is very bubbled, like it's
Right.
very specific
It's
to
very
our viewpoint. So
curated. Yeah.
yeah, so I think, as much as in the same way that I encourage, certain people to who are not of my mindset to watch the media that they ordinarily would not, I try to
Right.
do the same as well, because there are certain, I mean, coming from a small town in Pennsylvania, there are certain issues and aspects of their lives right now that I haven't lived in for 20 odd years.
Right.
So to be reminded, like, oh, okay, these issues of healthcare or employment or education are not things that I deal with on a daily basis, but this is true for them. And just to try to get on the same page of like, oh, okay, so you're supporting these people because of these issues. Let me address that, as opposed to being like, shut up, you're wrong. Ah!
Yeah. It's hard,
Um,
and also it's a two-way street, and I think a lot of people aren't willing to do that. It's because, like, I have conversations with relatives where just the way they talk, they have no empathy, or they have no ability to do that, and it's tough because when you're trying to go, okay, I understand that, like, things are being affected in a small town that are scary to you, or that, or your home community, and trying to empathize, it's a two-way street, but you can't teach people that, or you can try, but it's very, very difficult. And so, yeah, I wish we'd all do that. We'd be in a much better place where it's like, okay, let me try to learn this from your perspective. But I find that most of the people that are very narrow-minded aren't going to try to do that or try to apply that to their thought process. They're just going to watch a certain news thing and go, this is the way it is. Alex Jones said, and you're like, no, no. I've had those conversations where it's like, wait, what?
yeah.
It's very
Um,
scary.
yeah. And I think, not that political debate was ever really congenial. I mean,
No, it's
I think that's that story I remember learning in history class about, like, so in Congress sometime around like Abraham Lincoln or something, there was a guy who like took his cane and like just started beating another guy, like you do
yeah,
on the
yeah,
floor of Congress.
why not? Yeah, I mean, if you can't get your
So
point across,
yeah, so political debate has never been really sweet, but at the same time, I do feel that there's so many issues right now that feel dire and vital and life threatening, or real, or at the very least really infringing on the rights of so many people in really severe ways, that it feels
yeah,
like having polite discussion about stuff feels hard, and it really takes extra effort to be like, how do you support this person?
Yeah, it's
And
tough.
have those. Yeah.
Well, we're at a point now where I mean, in general, I hate politics. Like I am anti-discuss, especially before all this stuff went down. I was like, I don't care. I want nothing to do with it. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. And then it sort of turned a corner where it was like, oh, this is about morals, and this is about how to protect people you love, and trying to be empathetic, and trying to just be a good person. And it turned a corner where it went from a bunch of like weird dudes in suits yelling at each other at a dais, to being something that directly affected me and friends. And, I remember a couple of my friends who, when Trump was in office, who are people of color, they getting yelled at on the streets, like with a, like saying things that you would never say or never imagine saying to another person, or a person of, screaming out racist slurs and then being like, "Yeah, Trump," and then as like a tag, as if to validate that. And this is in LA, where you think everyone's just like, smelling flowers and eating hemp. So it's very it's weird how immediately that changed the climate. And as just sort of a schmucky white dude, I'm kind of like, oh, wow, this is, everything's fine. And then you see that happening to people you really love and care about, and you're like, oh, this is, wow. So yeah, politics to me has always been something that I've just been weirded out by. And it was something like my dad would complain about, and now it's something that directly affects me and, everyone I care about. And it, again, has become mostly about morals for me than anything else. I mean, there's so
Sure.
much craziness out there, but at the very least, talking about it morally is really where I come from, at least.
Yeah, I mean, you've got all, between Voltron and a few, sorry to the people who are like, the V word, yes, Voltron. There was somebody who was commenting like, the V word. I'm like, sorry. There's a lot of shows, you have a lot of young fans. To those who are coming of age and are about to vote, or about to be of age of voting, but they're kind of in the mindset of like, I hate politics too, and it doesn't necessarily affect me. Like,
Right.
how would you tell them to, like, how do you make politics exciting for you so that you stay engaged and turned on to it? And how would you want them to do that?
Well, for me, it's not that it's exciting, it's that it's about anxiety management. Like the way things went or were going before this current election, the anxiety started amping up, and I was like, oh, this is going to change our world. And so, as I know, a lot of people suffer from anxiety that follow me, and I think I'm very lucky that the Voltron community is LGBTQ and people that are very mental illness aware. And so we're able to have these conversations. We're like, hey, go to therapy, take Lexapro, like all these things that mean a lot to me, or that have changed my life and made me feel a lot better. And it's not I'm not saying that that's a cure all for everyone. Don't just go take Lexapro, go to a therapist. But no, yeah, don't self medicate.
We're not
Nothing good.
prescribing.
No, 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 not at all. But
Yeah.
for me, it's more so about like, I'm shocked how much it's affected my mental state. I remember going to like my friend's house and seeing people sobbing when he won, and I was like, oh God, this is weird, And for me, it's really just about that. Like, I need to live in a world where I feel like there's some kind of control, and there isn't this sort of Voldemort running everything, And it's kind of about just trying to, with a small gesture like voting, being able to make a choice or have a say in what kind of how do I describe it? What sort of power is running my world? And it really is a sort of Harry Potter moment or Star Wars moment where there's such an obvious wrong, and it's our kind of responsibility as the young rebels to do what we can to affect that. And so that's kind of what makes it, I guess, exciting at all, is we are the young rebels trying to take down the Death Star. And boy, they have not tried to hide it. I don't remember who it was who made the comment, like, we are like the Death Star. And it's like,
That's
what
no
happened to the
moon.
Death Star? Yeah. It's so crazy. But
Yeah.
yeah, for me, it's about anxiety, and we are the young rebels. We got to do what we can.
Sure. is there, I mean, I know that this is certainly something that I've dealt with during this time, not just because of who's in office, but also the pandemic and racial injustice and just a whole load of stuff. Like, there is, especially those of us that have anxiety. Hi.
Hello.
Um, how are you able to get over or get through those moments of feeling overwhelmed? Like, I can't do anything. Like, this is
Yeah.
all too big.
I call friends. One of my good friends, Ashley Birch, who I think was on this actually.
Who has been a guest of the pod? Yeah.
Yes, a guest of the pod, a friend of the pod.
Yeah.
She and I will have long, angry, confused discussions of trying to figure out how to sort this out, and having people who are like-minded, who you can just sort of yell at, not at, but with, has been
Mm-hmm.
very helpful, because you do feel helpless, especially now when it's like even just going to a march or trying to do a protest is really stressful, because there's not only is there a pandemic, but it's like there's cars driving through protests and stuff. Like craziness is happening all around us. So
People with bows and arrows, because sure.
yeah, why not? Sure. Welcome to Middle Earth. It's insane. So, and also, just being honest. I think a lot of people or a lot of actors are afraid to have any kind of political leaning or to be like, hey, this is wrong. And I think being a little more honest is helpful. It's at the very least, you can open a discussion and talk to people and try to have a dialogue. I mean, there's certain people who can't, and like I said before, like just won't hear it. But
Mm-hmm.
just being honest and letting people know, like, hey, we're in this together, is helpful in its own way, I think. I don't even remember what your question was. I just started going off
No,
on a
you
tangent.
answered all of it beautifully.
Okay, good.
But I do think, I mean, to your point, I think if there's one good thing that has come out of a lot of it, there are a few good things. I don't want to be totally pessimistic, but one of the good things I think is as actors or people in entertainment is that I think there was a significant number of us. I've never been this person just because I just run my mouth all the time, but that were very protective of their brand and not we're like, oh, I'm not going to get into politics, or oh, I don't say these things or whatever. And I think if there's because you don't want to alienate fans, and I feel like if
Yes,
there's
yeah.
anything that's come out of this is that the fans, especially in certain for certain shows or certain mediums or whatever, they expect it. Like they're like, how do you not have an opinion? Especially like I'm a big fan of multiple drag queens. And I've seen several of them taken to task by their fans of color who have been like, "How are you not saying anything about me right now? About me and my community?
Right.
Like I I've supported you through everything. How are you not supporting me now?" And so there are obviously still some entertainers that play it close to the chest, and they have their reasons, and I'm not going to get into that or start dropping names, but
Right.
um, but I do think it's neat to see a lot of our peers take up the call and be like, nope, I'm gonna forget, like do the whole John Boyega thing and just being like, screw it,
Yeah.
let,
Well, there's a
let's
lot
face
of, I
it.
mean, like I was saying with morals, in the beginning, I felt that way where I was like, I shouldn't say anything because I wouldn't want to alienate someone that I might work with. And then when I think about what I was saying at the beginning, or what I was, I guess, feeling initially and worried about, like, what are my agents going to say if I'm like saying anti things about Trump or whatever, I realized it's like, well, if someone really feels that way and supports all this and is okay with all this oppression and horror going on, like, I don't want to work with them, like, I don't, it's if you are morally aligned with things that I find morally repugnant, I don't really want to be part of your world. And so there kind of, I as I unfolded that idea, I was like, oh, I'm comfortable with this. Like, this isn't
Yeah.
right. I'm anti the empire. So it's but I do get that there's people like, I mean, I can't think of anyone, but like Tom Cruise, who's like America's dad. It's like, I understand that maybe it's difficult for him. Maybe I don't. I mean, maybe he has come out and said stuff, but I get when you're at such a high place. Maybe that's a little weird, but we're not. We're not crazy. We're not America's dads yet. Maybe America's daddies, but no. Okay, no. All right, moving on. I'll just slowly.
I mean, hey,
Hey.
live your dream. Absolutely. For everybody just tuning in, welcome to Between Two Nerds. This is a show presented by Nerds Vote, your source for voter information, specifically for the gamer, cosplayer, congoer, and pop culture fan of all kinds set. Our guest today is Asia LoCasio. So pivoting away from voting for just a second, there were a couple questions that I thought. So since you are from Jersey, I thought this was actually one of my favorite questions that we've gotten so far. Do you have a favorite Springsteen album?
No. I really don't listen to Springsteen. But that's so funny. Everyone's like Jersey, Springsteen, or like what exit? There's no, I don't.
Yeah,
Although
none of
I did. This is probably the most New Jersey thing. Is most of my family has been what's the word? Interred at the Bon Jovi funeral home in New Jersey. So,
Wait,
and
what?
it's, yeah, exactly. There's a Bon Jovi funeral home, and like his
He owns
cousin,
it?
no, he doesn't. His like cousin or sister or someone runs it. And I shot a movie in like my own thesis film in, in college, and I needed a coffin, like a funeral home for a scene where one of the characters dies. And my parents were like, "Oh, go to Bon Jovi's," and I was like, "What?" And yeah, and so I got to go for like free to shoot in this weird funeral home that all of my family has passed out of or passed away through. I don't know, but
Has transitioned through.
yeah, exactly, has been, and it was horrifying because she was like, yeah, like, here, come get the coffin, like, help me carry it, and we had to walk through the embalming room, and the sudden like freezing horror of realizing how many of my relatives have been in here like just crushed me, and I was like, oh god, this is awful. But hey, Bon Jovi's, if they're still open, it's out in New Jersey.
Does it have any memorabilia or photos of him on the?
I didn't see any. I
I
didn't
was gonna
notice.
say I would
But,
love if it was decorated like a full Planet Hollywood,
oh my
like
god, that'd be amazing. Like, here's his
art
jacket, and
cafe.
here, yeah.
Yeah, right next to your Aunt Mary.
Yeah, exactly.
Goodness. Well, sorry, there were other questions. What is your most cherished Halloween decoration?
Ooh, cherished Halloween decoration. That's, I mean, it's almost always Halloween in my apartment. We made a Halloween tree out of a manzanita branch, like a dead manzanita branch that's been like sandblasted. You can get them at like floral supply stores or like on Amazon. And we painted it black and hung tiny little pumpkins from it. So yeah, it's like, the Ray Bradbury book or the cartoon, The Halloween Tree.
Yep.
It's that image has always been super burned into my brain, and I was like, I want to make a Halloween tree, so we keep that on our fireplace, our fake fireplace, with pretty much all year round. But I would say that's probably my favorite thing.
Do you have this is a question for me.
Yeah,
Uh,
please.
do you have a particular favorite Halloween either movie or special?
Hocus Pocus. I mean,
Okay.
I love Hocus
All right.
Pocus. It's funny to
That's
me
a good
that
answer.
it's the definitive answer. That and Trick or Treat, if on the more scary side, Trick or
Oh yeah, great
Treat,
movie.
phenomenal. It's one of my favorite movies in general, and same with Hocus Pocus. And but it's weird to me that Hocus Pocus has had a huge resurgence lately because it was always something that I feel like we all
Hmm.
enjoyed in private, and then I feel like as everyone got a little bit older, we're like, wait, you like Hocus Pocus? You like Hocus Pocus? And now you're
Yeah.
seeing like Target and like Michaels rip off Hocus Pocus with like knockoff. Have you noticed? I made like a weird tweet about it the other day, like how much it makes me cringe to see like it's just a bunch of Hocus Pocus like put on a pillow at Target that clearly is not like copywritten. It's just a weird nod
Right.
to the movie. I don't know. Someone here said Bram Stoker's Dracula. I haven't seen that one in a while. Beetlejuice,
Yeah.
Nightmare Before Christmas, yes. Although I have
Also
a
good.
weird Nightmare Before Christmas, I never know when to watch it. I usually watch it like around Thanksgiving because it's just between the two.
Yeah. That's so my Halloween movies, even though they're not technically Halloween movies, are the Adams Family
Oh my,
duology.
yes, they are
And
some of the greatest movies ever made. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
because the first one ends in Halloween, so it's perfect to watch in October, and the second one
Right.
ends at Thanksgiving. So you really have like this great 2 month window that you can
Yeah.
devour those.
I'm
Uh,
obsessed. Those movies do not get enough credit, like at
they're
all. Like
so
I
good.
so obsessed with them. Like Raul Julia is just insane. His performance is perfect, and Angelica Houston is like I can't think of a better casting, better written movie. The editing, the music, like everything about it's phenomenal. So that's an all year round movie for me as well. So I
Yeah,
didn't even think about Halloween.
it's so quotable. I know, especially when I would meet fellow gay fellas, if both of us could quote Debbie Jelinski, I was like, we're gonna be good friends.
That was my when they first revealed me as the Lotar voice or whatever, and I did my first interview. They were like, "Can you choose a quote from just a movie to do as Lotar, just like a fun thing?" And so I did the one where she talks about Malibu Barbie, and that kind of became like a thing where people are
That
like,
is
"I'm
so
going to give."
cool.
Yeah, it's such a good speech. I was like, "Oh, I gotta," and I think maybe one or two people watched the movie as a result, and I like to think that at least because it's such an underappreciated movie.
There is in my voiceover class, I do a character creation voiceover class. I try to teach students that you should be able to do your character's voice not just with their catchphrases, but with anything. So
Right?
I
Yeah.
give them famous movie monologues, and that is one of them.
Oh, really? That's amazing.
As is like an Aaron Brockovich monologue, Sally Field's Steel Magnolias meltdown, and Jack Nicholson from A Few Good Men.
Amazing. Yeah,
Because of
that's
course.
such a big. When I was doing like years ago before I started doing voiceover, I was doing Jack Sparrow at parties. Not that sounded bad, but you know what I mean, like
Oh
dressing
yeah, I
up.
remember that costume.
Yes, and so it was a thing where like I basically paid for my existence for years as Jack Sparrow in New York. And one of the things I would do to practice is I would do because it starts off where you do the phrases like where did all the rum go or whatever. Like now I've I haven't thought about the movie in a long time, but
Hmm.
it's trying to do other stuff in that voice and finding that tone. It's almost like tuning a guitar or making sure you can fit the beats and the sounds of other words that you're not used to hearing is such a big part of it.
Yeah.
Especially when you're doing voice matching or trying to do an impression of something. You have to take it off the rails, and take it for a test drive.
Which you have done a ton of. As a matter of fact, I am very proud of the fact that you and I have voice matched the same person in the same video game.
Yeah, that's super weird. You were Rex Danger Vest, right?
Yes,
Yes.
I am the version of you basically on medication.
So weird. It's so funny. They asked me. So when we were recording that, they went, "Can you do this?" And I'd never heard of it. Like there was no trailer yet or anything. And they played it for me, and I was like, maybe. And apparently I couldn't. So they had me do like one or two lines, and then the next time I went in, you were there, and I was like, oh, good, because I didn't feel good about that at all. Because it is a different kind of voice. It's a
It
different.
is. It's weird. Yeah.
Yeah, I
It's
was
but it's the same
not
guy.
expecting. Same. It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there a voice match that you have done that you're especially proud of, maybe because it was so difficult, or just because you love the character or the actor, like one that you just
Yes, I mean two. I mean the first one's obviously Michael J. Fox, the Marty McFly. Like that one, that was the first thing I ever did. So for me, that was such a big, huge, enormous accomplishment. Like I remember thinking when I first started doing the impression, like, what good is this? Like I have this weird secret power that I'll never be able to use for anything. Like I wish there was some way to utilize this, and then through a very strange series of events, being able to actually do it officially was insane. I mean, I still can't comprehend it. So for me, that was the biggest thing in the universe that could happen to me. And then also Harrison Ford getting to voice match him for Forces of Destiny, and that's it. I think so that I can talk about. But I don't remember.
I was gonna
Everything's a
say, I
blur.
see an NDA floating past your
Yeah, an
eyes.
NDA like woo, and I was like, maybe I'm not doing anything ever again. But I was in something that was also canceled, so I could say that maybe, or I was anyway. I was fired for sounding too much like Harrison Ford, which is the greatest reason to get fired for something. It was Anyway, it was great. I loved it. I was like, that's awesome. Okay, cool. I'll take it. Good luck.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so, but
It's
anyway,
because that's the weird thing in the sound. Like like when I did Willy Wonka, I did it when Gene Wilder was still alive, and they were like, "We want you to sound like Gene, but not so much like Gene that legal comes after us.
oh,
So
crazy.
can you do a mediocre Gene?"
That's tough to do because it's like, I don't want to. I came here to do this, and
Right.
it hurts
But
a
the
little
thing
bit.
is like my natural speaking voice isn't that far off from Gene, so I was like, well, I'll just do me.
Right.
Um, and yeah, and I get, in the comments and all sorts of stuff, I get the people who are like, oh my God, you're like dead on Gene Wilder. And then the other people are like, ugh, that is such a lousy, lazy Gene Wilder. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's part of the reason I was glad that I wasn't they moved on from me in that job, because I was like,
Sure.
if I do this, I want to do the best Harrison Ford I can. So to just sort of go middling and then have people like, that sucks. It's like, that doesn't sound anything like him. And it'll be like, I know. And you can't say anything. So I just kind of was like, it's fine. I'm really happy to just go get someone else. That's fine.
Absolutely. So in addition to uh, the Halloween, the craft work, and all the voice work that you've been doing lately, what have you been eating? You eating anything
Eat.
good during the pandemic?
Yeah. So my girlfriend is vegan, and
Oh, cool.
she cooks a lot. So I've basically been vegan for 7 or 8 months, however long the pandemic's been going on. So
Hmm.
that's been an experience. It's actually very nice. It's very when because she had to cook for herself most of the time. So just sort of hitching my wagon to her train and her making extra for me has been interesting. I was shocked at how much I didn't give a shit about meat after a while. Like I stopped eating pork and beef because doesn't doesn't do good things to your body, and I found myself liking it less and less as time went on. Like I know people that are very like pro steak, like it's offensive if you do like, hey, you don't have steak, and I'm like, nah, I don't really like steak. Um,
Yeah, I'm not nearly that close to Texas, too. Yeah.
but it's like a weird cultural thing where people get offended if you don't like steak, and I'm like, that just doesn't do anything for me. But so it was easy to kind of cut that out, and then yeah, mostly just been eating lots of weird vegan stuff. So a lot of tofu, and it's amazing what's out there. She's also gluten free, so it's been a very anti gluten, very anti animal meals, and they've all been great. I never would know the difference. She could be poisoning for me for all I know, and I would go,
Do you notice anything different in like your energy levels or your stamina or?
when you spend most of the time on the couch or standing, I not really. I know friends that have had like significant changes in their health and their body weight and stuff like that, but it's I think because I've not been as active, you know, doing normal like here's a 12-hour mocap session. It's hard to gauge.
Right.
So, it's but I do know I watched that there was a documentary about vegan something or God, it was on Netflix I think, where they talk about how when you eat meat, how like the oils get into your blood. Have you seen? Have you? It
I've
freaked me the
heard of
hell
many
out.
of these documentaries, and I'm like, I'm depressed enough, man.
Yeah, that's how I felt. Is I was like, oh, like I just imagined like my blood getting oily, and like I'm super not okay with that, like medical stuff like that. So it really sort of weirded me out, and that was like right at the beginning of the pandemic, and I was like, oh, no, maybe I'll think about this, and
That'll do
then
it.
yeah, but it does. I can imagine it must make you feel different eating a steak versus salad. I don't know. I didn't
Yeah,
even answer your question. I've been eating lots
yeah.
of non-animals.
I've been off of red meat for I've been kind of on like a medical diet type of thing. Nothing's wrong, but just and I had a burger this past weekend. I felt awful. I
Yeah.
felt so, and not just like guilt, not guilt, like
No,
but
no.
but just like physically, like
I,
So
I had a
yeah,
similar. I
I don't
hadn't
think I need
had.
to go back.
Yeah, that it's weird how you. So like I had a. They started selling those like Mickey ice cream things, like ice cream sandwiches. At, like you go to Albertsons or something, and I was like, ooh, Disney! Like I got excited. I was like, I can bring that home, and I hadn't had, I guess, dairy in months. And when I had one, I felt like I was getting a fever. It hit me so hard. Like I felt so sick to
Yep.
my stomach, and like just I don't know how to describe it, but just awful. And I was like, and my girlfriend was like, it's because you haven't had that much dairy in a really long time. And I was like, really? Uh,
Mhm.
so it was weird how it affected me. Same thing with sugar. I cut out sugar a couple of years ago for like 3 months. And then when I finally had something that was like normal processed sugar, it tasted like metal to me and made me feel horrible. And then, I mean, I very quickly got over it and started eating cake and stuff. But, the initial taste was like, it tasted like I was licking rust. It was a whole different experience. But it's weird how your body changes and acclimates. And yeah.
Yeah. For it's not done yet. Are there foods that are hot? Well, this is not a dietary program. However, I know because I have too much iron in my blood uh, that I was told to like not eat as much spinach. So spinach.
I eat a ton of spinach. I'm like
Yeah.
Popeye, where I love my forearms are huge now. Yeah, I get that a lot where I've posted stuff about like, oh yeah, I'm eating vegan, and people are like, I can't, I will die if I don't eat steak. And I mean, like physically, they're
You
like, I
think
don't know,
so?
and
And
I don't,
then
I
yeah.
don't know how that works because I know maybe some people have different medical needs, but it's gotten so much better since like the '90s when my dad was vegetarian, where like you could have four things, and that was it. Like there's such a
Soybeans. That's all we
yeah,
have. Yeah.
it's such a wide spectrum now that I'm sure there are things that make it easier, but I mean I'm not going to tell anyone like don't eat babies baby cows, even though that one's sad. Seeing like how veal happens is the worst thing in the world to me, but yeah.
Yeah. Veal and lamb and foie gras. Or,
Oh, the foie gras. I love ducks. Like I think
yeah.
ducks are the cutest, sweetest things in the world. And I remember like I was a kid and we went to a restaurant and they had duck on the menu and I just started openly bawling because the concept of eating a duck had never occurred to me. Like I just liked ducks. So
Oh.
I was just sobbing. I was probably like 17. I
Well,
was
clearly you've never had one with a plum sauce because they're delicious.
I believe
Uh,
it.
so, AJ, as you mentioned, you and I met doing Young Storytellers, which
Yes, which is an
for
awesome
anybody,
program.
awesome program. For anybody
Yeah.
that doesn't know out there, they are an organization that brings in professionals like ourselves to help kids write short screenplays and then also act them out. And they can be as bonkers and wild and whatever as these kids want, which it's such an awesome creativity expressor. Are there any other organizations that you support or are a fan of or are involved with?
Uh, hmm. Let me. That's it. You guys.
Yeah,
Um,
thanks.
yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything I don't even, I can't even think. There's a pet
No, no,
rescue
no,
that
no,
I
no.
love that I can't think of right now. Whose name they own this place on Sunset called Echo Bark. That's in Echo Park. Who do a lot of dog rescues and
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, they're.
Well,
Why can't I think?
Miss Courtney is a big fan of the dog rescue stuff. So you've already gotten like 4 stars, even though she's not even here.
It's okay. It's that's something that kills me. Whereas I never really was exposed to it or involved in it in any way. And now my dog Ducky, we take her to this place all the time, and just hearing all these stories, how this dude Jeff, who saves these dogs and will post these videos like, "Hey, help!" Like there was a Chihuahua left in a shopping cart, just like next to a train track, and I'm like, "How does this happen? Like, how are people this heartless that they can just?" I don't know. It's crazy to me. So it's I've been following them and the Real Bark. That's what it is. The Real Bark on Instagram.
Got it.
But awesome. They're one of the few people I trust, and I've seen the results of their work. Because I don't trust a lot of like, hey, we're rescuing animals, and I'm like, are you? But like getting to actually see
Right. Or is it
this.
for profit or yeah.
Right, exactly. So it's they're one of the very few places I trust and love. They're very, very sweet. So, and they've helped us a lot with our dog, who's had a lot of health issues. So we've
What
been
kind of dog is Ducky?
she's a chew weenie. So the two dogs I swore I'd never get, basically, where I'm like, come on, a wiener dog and a chihuahua. Those are like the most helpless animals in the universe. And it's true, but I love her. So I can't. She's the sweetest thing in the world. And it's, you can't, the wand chooses the wizard is how I feel, where it's like, I didn't choose her. She chose us is basically how that happened, where I, a coworker of my girlfriend was just had a litter of puppies, and needed to just get rid of them basically. And she was the runt of the litter and the last one. And they were like, the dad was super crappy and was like, I'm going to just throw her in a dumpster. We're like, no, 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 no. We'll hold on to her. Not a good family. I probably shouldn't say that. Not a good dad, maybe. I don't know. He doesn't hopefully have Instagram. I shouldn't have said that.
Hi.
Very sweet. Hi.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah. But anyway, they were the person who gave her to us was like, no, please help save this baby. Because he didn't want the dad to toss her, so we were like, yes, okay. But I didn't know we were going to adopt her. I thought we were just going to sort of like give her to a friend. And then she was like, now she's the center of my existence. Like everything I do revolves around her happiness. So it changed my life.
Yeah. We are currently dog sitting a Labradoodle. And
they are goofy little bastards.
Oh, I love them.
They're so great. They're the happiest, most confused little, Labradoodles are amazing.
Mm-hmm. He is obsessed with ball. It is all about ball. There's nothing but ball. And my partner, who has a mild allergy to dogs, has always liked dogs. He had like one dog when he was a kid, but like I've always been dog obsessed and have been like, when are we getting a dog? We have to figure out a way to get a dog. If we need to get you to get the shots so that you're not allergic, we need to get the dog. So he's been, my partner and I live in 2 different spaces, and he's been watching the dog this week. He was like, A, we need to get a dog immediately, and B, I don't know if I'm going to be able to give this one back. I'm like, well, that's legal action that I'm not prepared to deal with, but we'll figure it out. Yeah, he's
It's
great.
hard once you get attached, or once it's just it. I was even for like weeks. I was like, does anyone want this dog? Like, I think I'm falling in love. Someone help me. And it didn't. Yeah, she's now. Yeah, we've had her for 5 years now. So yeah.
Yeah, she's part of the furniture.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I see Elise is on. Hi, Elise. That's it.
Oh, I know her. Yeah.
Yeah, she's delightful.
For anybody just tuning in, this is Between Two Nerds, a show brought to you by Nerds Vote, your source for voter registration information, specially designed for the gamer, cosplayer, congoer, and pop culture fan of all kinds. Our guest today is LoCasio. Couple things. In the pinned comments, you'll notice a call to fill out your census if you haven't done it already. There's only a few more days to get that done, so please do it. It is what allocates funds for your community, so you want to fill out the census. It takes 5 minutes, especially if you have no dependents. Less. It's so quick. If you would like to learn how to register to vote or to get an absentee ballot, which is absolutely key this election, just visit nerdsvote.com. And before we sign off, the way that we traditionally do this, AJ, is we ask especially for voiceover actors like yourself who have many characters in the bag, we ask the fans who they would like you to sign off as. So to all of you out there, if you have a particular character of AJ's that would love to hear him do to encourage you to vote, please put it in the comments.
I wonder who it'll be.
Yeah.
I think yeah.
That's the funny thing. Everybody's like, "Oh, it's clearly going to be," and then
it's clearly going to be so.
People are at the bottom of the IMDb. It's like, "Aha!
Yeah, do this guy."
Number 2.
People assume I remember things. I see a hand. I see. We all know the answer from "It's Not Done Yet." Lotar, please.
Mm-hmm. Well,
how did people typically sign off? It's just a.
So all you need to do, the only bullets you need to hit are to tell them to get out and vote, and thanks for coming. That's it. Everything else is just all you.
Okay. All right.
All right. I think let's go with him. Let's.
Oh, Kif. You're cheating. Get out of here. Kif also voiced Han. We actually voiced two Hans, or 2 voices, 1 Han. We were doing for Forces of Destiny. He was, I never know the proper way to say it. He was current Han, and I was legacy Han. So it was pretty cool.
You can't say old Han and young Han.
It feels weird. I think they actually credited us as old Han and young Han, which was, I thought, a little weird, but I was like, hey, sure, whatever. Because then there's younger Han, and so I feel like they need to.
Oh, sure.
Right. So there's a different. You need to differentiate in a different way. He wrote old
Right.
ass Han Solo. That's how they credited
Yeah,
you.
that is the correct IMDb credit. Thank you, Kev.
Right. Skeletal Han Solo. um.
All right.
Wait. Okay.
Well, we'll say Lotor. If you
That's what
want
it
to
looks.
throw in a little bit of Han while you're at it, you're more than welcome.
No, not for Kif. All right. Well, remember, everyone, please vote because it's up to us to fight the evils of the Empire. After all, my father was allowed to reign for much too long, and we all saw what a mess he made. Vote for the people. Vote for people you care about. Be empathetic, compassionate, and Vrepitsar. Did I hit all the points? I don't remember.
Yes, you did.
Okay, good.
Awesome. Thanks so much. AJ, it has been an absolute pleasure having you. I hope we
This has
have
been
you
so
again
much fun.
on soon. And yeah, for everybody out there, please subscribe to us on at NerdsVote on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. It's all the same place, and it's all the same handle. And visit us at nerdsvote.com for all your voter info stuff. Yeah.
Woo!
All right. Thanks, AJ. Good
Yeah,
seeing you.
thank you so much. It was good seeing you too. Do
All
I just
right.
hang up? What do I do?
Yeah. There used to be a button. I don't know where the button went.
Oh, Batman.
It's
I keep
Batman.
this in my. I just me, it's Batman. I did, but sorry, I did a stream with someone recently with Elise, who's on here, and I had my Batman figure constantly stealing the scene. He does that. He just stares at me. From anyway,
All right.
that's the Keaton Batman. All right, I'll sign off. Bye, guys.
All right.
It's
See
good
ya.
to see you, buddy. All right, bye.
Ah, that was awesome. Thanks so much, everybody. Courtney, unfortunately, was in her session this whole time, so she missed it. But she will be back next Tuesday. Tune in Saturday to our Instagram to find out who our next guest is going to be. We have so many amazing guests coming all the way up until Election Day. It's really awesome. And also, don't forget to fill out your census. And also, we're offering a Bethesda giveaway. So check out our profile for more information about that. It is super cool. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you Tuesday.